G'day guys, I'm Matt Brand and this is the i30N. Haha! Now, you might be thinking one of two things. Why in God's name am I reviewing another i30N? And then why am I reviewing a car that's about to be replaced sometime early next year? Well, I did have a BMW 218i Grand Coupe booked, but that was cancelled on me literally last minute and I needed a car and, well, this was all that was available to me, but I don't care. But I don't care, I haven't reviewed the hatch, I reviewed the fastback, and there are some key differences which of course we will get into in today's video. Also, I will be getting the new i30N as soon as it comes out, so make sure you do subscribe so you can see as soon as that one is uploaded. Also, if you do enjoy this video, if you just love Hyundai i30Ns, then please do go down there and like the video too. It really helps the channel, the video, everything out. YouTube's algorithms work against small creators like me, so help me, just help me. Also, I do have timestamps on this video, so if you want to skip ahead and see a specific part, then feel free to do so. I've left something in the description below and you can also click on the video, I think, something like that. And let's just get straight into it. Starting with the front, and at a glance, you can just tell that this is a hot hat. And man, what a beautiful front. It's so aggressive, so sporty. To me, it's like a perfect amount of styling. The grille is really big with like a chrome surround that looks decent. Below it is even more grille, which you don't get on other Hyundai models because this wants more airflow. Flanking that are fake side vents, but I don't care, they look pretty cool. But there are functional air curtains which help to streamline air across the side of the car and also to cool the brakes. Down the bottom is a front splitter, which unfortunately doesn't get the red piping on every other color, but figure out why. And the lights are a little bit bland, but I'm not going to complain too much because they are going to be replaced very soon in the facelift, and also they're pretty functional. They are fully LED, but the high beams leave a lot to be desired. They're pretty much useless. I like though that there are cornering lights. The daytime running lights is just a piece of LED bar, but it's fine. But I do like that they've got a tinted kind of design. I think that's pretty awesome. Oh, I'm gonna go to jail for all these farts and bangs and pops with COVID around. Moving on to the side, and the side is neat and tidy. Honestly, not too much going on there. There are two pretty cool things going on with the side, and they both have to do with the wheels. I like the 19-inch wheels. I think that they suit the car very well, very premium looking, and they've got like this two-tone design. It's cool. And then within them, and probably even cooler, are the red painted end brakes. They really do help just to complete the design. It's a nice hot hatch kind of touch. Otherwise, yeah, there's some sharp creases, edges, but not too much. It's certainly not overdone. And I must admit, I do prefer the looks of the fastback. I think it's just got that more iconic design. I don't know, but it still looks really good, don't get me wrong. But the rear, oh man, the rear, I think it is so cool. Again, at a glance, you know it's a hot hat. From the rain light looking brake light up top, housed within a pretty decent sized spoiler too. You've also got the N badge, which does stand for Namyang and the Nürburgring, where the car was both developed, conceived, and made, loved. The taillights are again a little bit on the bland side, but they're going to be replaced and they look fine as is, especially at nighttime when the LEDs are on. It's cool. Down the bottom is the obligatory rear diffuser, very sporty. But more exciting than that is the dual exhaust tips back there. They are completely real. They are big, beefy, and well, they sound pretty awesome. Take a listen for yourself. Overall, I love the way that the i30N looks. Whether it's the hatchback or the fastback, they're both very good looking cars. I'm not even a red car color fan, but it suits the car very well, and oh god, I love it. But I'm curious to know what you guys think. What do you think looks better, this i30N hatchback, or do you prefer the looks of the i30 fastback In the comments, I've left a voting poll, so do go down there and cast your votes now. Now let's move on to the interior, and I want to start with the overall look, layout, and feel. The design is relatively good inside of here. It is a little bit dark. You could probably see it in the camera right now. It's quite dark. That's mainly just because they've used black plastics just absolutely everywhere with no real contrasting material to break it up. Thankfully though, there are some nice soft touch plastics dotted around the interior, especially in the places that matter, like where your arms rest and the steering wheel. Of course, the steering wheel is leather, but touch points are good overall. And then there are some scratchy plastics, but look, it's bad, but not too bad. One of the main unique value propositions of the i30N is that it is a budget hot hatch, but yeah, it doesn't even feel that bad, to be honest. And also everything is well laid out, well placed. I do like the fact you get blue stitching dotted around the interior. I think that's a really, really nice touch. And fun fact, the fastback gets red stitching on the interior, and I prefer the blue. Then there is the ergonomics and practicality. Ergonomics wise, the steering wheel is tilting and telescoping. You can easily get it into a comfortable position. The seats though, they are completely manual adjustment, but it is easy to get into a comfortable position, and you get lumbar support, which is great. In terms of I/O, you do get two 12-volt sockets up front. You get a USB port and an aux jack in, and there's plenty of storage spaces dotted around the interior. For example, there's a place for your phone that would be a wireless charging pad if you do get the luxury pack. Unfortunately, it's not in this car, but it's not the end of the world. You've also got two cup holders in the center. You've got more cup holders in the doors. You've got a pretty good center armrest here with decent amount of storage. Yeah, it's just well laid out, practical. Visibility is also way better than the fastback too. That's probably its biggest advantage over the fastback. It's good. You can see pretty clearly everywhere. And then there are these seats, which I have to admit are a little bit disappointing because this doesn't have the luxury pack. It comes with the base model cloth seats that, as I said, are manually adjusting, and even though they look pretty good, feel-wise, they feel pretty poor. With the luxury pack, it's a $3,000 optional extra, and absolutely I recommend it, if not just for the seats because they are leather and partial suede effect or something like that, but they feel substantially better, look substantially better, and yeah, it just cheapens the interior quite a lot. Thankfully though, they are comfortable enough, very body hugging as you would expect from a sporty car, but I don't mind that at all. And yeah, I don't know, just a little bit disappointing. Oh, and also I love the fact that they have blue stitching, and also the N logo is embossed into the seat. That's cool. Moving on to one of the best parts though of the i30N's interior, and that is its steering wheel. It is an absolutely fantastic steering wheel. It feels so good in the hands, it's just not funny. It's also incredibly functional. On the left-hand side, you have your media and your phone controls. On the right-hand side, you have your instrument cluster controls, and you have your cruise control. Now, the i30N unfortunately does not come with adaptive cruise control, but maybe that's something to do with it being trackable, I'm not sure. What's even better though is that there are two different drive mode selectors. On the left, you have your standard driving modes, which shifts between normal, sport, and eco if you ever drive this car in eco, which I kind of hope you don't. And then there is my absolute favorite, which is N mode, which puts everything into the stiffest, hardest everythings, and custom mode, which is what I drive with, which is everything on full maximum attack, except for suspension. I leave that on comfort. We'll talk more about driving modes in just a moment. Moving on to the instrument clusters now. Actually, sorry, these are called the supervision clusters, which is the most marketing jargon you will ever hear in your entire life. Their instrument cluster, but it is a good supervision cluster at that. On the left-hand side, you have your tachometer. On the right-hand side, you have your speedometer. My favorite part about it is right at the top, you have your shift lights, which flash and indicate. Oh, it's so cool. And there is a very functional LCD panel in the center, which does show a whole heap of different information. And then there is the 8-inch infotainment screen, which again is going to be replaced by a 10.25-inch infotainment screen, but it will have the exact same functionality because I've used the similar systems, for example, in my Kona EV review. And boy, are these screens good. Even this 8-inch infotainment screen is just, it's really, really good just by how practical and functional it is. The graphics are decently sharp, if not a little bit washed out, but functionality is incredible. It's incredibly quick to respond to your touches. It also has Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, navigation, and digital radio. The holy four that you need for a good infotainment system. So That already makes it good. It's also got an N mode screen, which shows a whole bunch of different N mode gauges, like how much turbo you're producing, or torque, or power. And you've got your physical buttons and knobs. It's all very good. And then we have the air conditioning controls. They're super functional and they work well. There are quite a lot of buttons. Maybe it would be better if they consolidated a few of them, but it's really nothing to complain about. That's nitpicking. Finally, I want to talk about this gear knob. It's a beautiful gear knob. Feels very good in my hands. Again, you've got the blue stitching on it and a dead ahead in blue, and it's on the gear knob, but whatever, who cares? It is quite notchy, and it does get a little bit tiring, especially in traffic, but I don't know, you guys tell me, is that a good thing? I wish it was just a little bit smoother, but otherwise, I love this knob. Moving on now to the rear seats, and it is a little bit tight back there for legroom, but headroom, I have plenty of space. Again, you have cloth seats. It's decently comfortable back there, but there isn't any air vents or place to charge your phone, nothing like that. That's a bit of a shame, but I'll let it be. And then there is boot space. With the rear seats up, it's 381 litres of boot space. Whoa! Whoa! With rear seats down, it's 1,287 litres of boot space, but just note that there is quite a big ridge in the floor, and also there is a brace bar back there for added rigidity for the frame, but it does rob a little bit of boot space. Not that I care. Worth noting, the fastback does get a little bit more storage space. So how does the i30N hatchback How does the i30N hatchback drive? It drives pretty well. The i30N is powered by a 2-litre 4-cylinder turbocharged engine, and that pumps out 202 kilowatt of power and 353 Newton meters of torque. However, there is an overboost feature which puts you at 378 Newton meters of torque, and that's available from 1750 RPM to 4200 RPM, and for 18 seconds per gear. So that means that you always have overboost pretty much. It's so much fun. It also has one of the best power to weight ratios in the entire class, thanks in part to weighing just 1,429 kilos, which might not sound very light, but for a hot hatch, it really is. And that power to weight ratio will get you from 0 to 100 in 6.2 seconds. Well, theoretically anyway, as you probably heard there and you might have seen throughout this video, this car wheel spins like crazy thanks to the Pirelli P0 tires that are fitted to it, which don't do the job very well. My first modification would be to chuck on some Michelin Pilot Sport 4s onto this car. You'll get so much more grip and it will make the car faster. You also have 5 different driving modes to choose from. As I said, normal, sport, eco. That does change the suspension because it has adaptive dampers at this price point, and it also changes throttle response and handling, things like that. But the real fun is in N mode, where it changes things like the engine, it turns on rev matching, it puts on the ELSD onto the sporty setting. You've got an active exhaust sound. It also changes, as I said, the suspension, the steering, and the electronic stability control. It puts that into sport mode. And what that means is that there are so many ways that you can drive this car. I personally drive the car in custom because you get this cool little menu. You can change between like 2,000 different variations of how you want your car to drive, and it's awesome. So putting the car into N mode right now, I'm gonna take a corner really hard, and it's got like a magical front end. It's incredible. Thanks in part to the ELSD sending power to the wheel with most grip, but also just the handling, the suspension, everything that's set up is just, it's incredible. It really is probably the best handling car I've ever driven. Now, when you're driving around town, you put the car into normal mode, everything just quietens down and it becomes a really, really good daily. As I said, it has adaptive dampers, and even though they are, yes, a little bit on the stiffer side, even in this normal mode, it's nothing at all unbearable, and actually it's quite comfortable. It goes over bumps really well, and it still feels sharp and stable, which is exactly what you want out of a hot hatch, guys. That's what you want. The CLA 45S going past me, and I'm laughing in dollar value. As you've seen throughout the video as well, handling is just superb. It handles on a dime. It's so sharp, you point it where you want it to go and it goes. Again, helped by the ELSD and just the fantastic steering. But probably my favorite thing about the way this car drives really just comes down to the customizability. If I want to have a silly exhaust that crackles and pops, well, I can have that, and I do drive around with that. But if my partner wants to drive around, if she could drive a manual, well, she would have it in normal mode where it didn't make much noise, but was still fun to drive. So to summarize how it drives, well, I think that speaks for itself. It's incredible, amazing, insane. And in terms of how it drives compared to the Fastback, well, I can't tell a difference. There are some differences. The Fastback has a better weight distribution, having 12 centimeters more body over the rear wheels and 10 kilograms heavier, but I can't tell. But what I can tell you is it worth it? And yes, 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 it's worth it. Before even mentioning the price, this comes with a 5-year warranty and a 5-year track warranty. That means you can take it to the track, and if your engine blows, so long as you haven't over-revved it, there is a black box to check that, but it will be replaced under warranty. Hyundai wants you to take this to the track. They want you to have fun with it. I love that. The Hyundai hatchback is a little bit cheaper than the Fastback too. It starts at $45,742.20 drive away. And with this red engine paint job, well, that's the exact same price. It's a no-cost option. Personally, I would get Performance Blue. I think it's just such a beautiful color. And I would get the luxury pack, which is about $3,000 extra at $48,868.20. That's because you get way better seats, you get keyless entry and go, you get tinted windows, a heated steering wheel, a wireless charging pad, front parking sensors, and literally everything that I would have wanted in my time if I had to own this car. If I could own this car. Now, if you want to see new car reviews every single week, do click up there and hit the notification bell so you can see as soon as I release and upload, as I said, every single week. Click over there if you want to see my Hyundai Fastback review. It's a really beautiful car. Definitely like and comment down below, and if you think someone will want to watch this video, why don't you share it with them too? It helps the channel out. Thank you guys, and I will see you next week.